There's a simple truth that most people won't tell you. Motivation doesn't show up every day. Some days you won't feel like working. Some days you'll want to hit snooze and avoid the grind. You'll feel tired, distracted, or even just flat out uninspired. But here's the catch. Success doesn't come to those who only work when they feel like it. It comes to those who choose to show up, even when they don't want to. This is where real progress begins. When you force yourself to work despite the resistance, that's when you build character. That's when you learn discipline. And that's when you make real strides toward the life you want. In this video, we're diving into the power of pushing through those moments of doubt, discomfort, and laziness. We'll talk about why it's essential to keep going when your mind tells you to stop, and how these moments shape the person you become. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything or give you the easy way out. I'm here to give you the tools you need to fight through the resistance, get things done, and ultimately change your life for the better. You'll learn why working through the hard times can be your greatest advantage, and how you can build the habit of pushing forward, no matter how you feel. Stick with me, and by the end you'll have the motivation to keep going, even when you'd rather quit. Number 1. Feelings are not your master. Let's talk about something that separates the successful from everyone else. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even intelligence. It's the ability to do what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. You see, most people let their feelings run the show. If they don't feel motivated, they don't work. If they're tired, they take a break. If something is uncomfortable, they avoid it, and that's why they stay stuck. That's why year after year, nothing changes for them, because they're waiting to feel like it. But let me tell you something. Your feelings don't care about your success. Your feelings don't care about your future. If you let feelings dictate your actions, you'll wake up a decade from now wondering why you're still in the same place. You'll look around and see that the people who pushed through, who did the work no matter how they felt, have built the life you once dreamed of. And that's gonna hurt. So right now, make the decision. Make the decision that from this moment forward, your feelings will no longer be in charge. Your goals will be in charge. Your commitments will be in charge. Because that's what it takes. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. I know what it's like to wake up and feel exhausted. I know what it's like to not want to get up, not want to work, not want to push forward. That little voice in your head will tell you, just take it easy today. You can start tomorrow. But that voice is a liar. That voice is the reason so many people never reach their potential. Because tomorrow turns into next week, next month, next year. And before you know it, the opportunity is gone. So how do you break that cycle? How do you get yourself to work when every part of you wants to quit? Simple. You stop waiting for motivation and start relying on discipline. Motivation is great when you have it, but it's unreliable. One day you feel fired up, the next day you don't. If you only take action when motivation is high, you'll never be consistent. And consistency is what leads to results. That's why discipline is the key. Discipline is waking up and doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. Discipline is deciding that you're going to show up every single day, no matter what. The best part, the more disciplined you become, the less you even think about feelings. You don't wake up and ask yourself, do I feel like working today? You just do it, because that's who you are now. But let me tell you something even more important. The moment you stop letting feelings control you, you take your power back. You stop being a victim of your emotions, and you start being the master of your life. That's when things really start to change. You don't need to feel like doing something to do it. You just need to start. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, something shifts. The moment you push past that resistance, your brain wakes up, your energy kicks in, and before you know it, you're in motion. Think about it. How many times have you dreaded starting something, only to feel completely different once you got into it? That's because action creates momentum. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. So instead of waiting to feel ready, just take that first step. Get up, move. Start small if you have to. But start. Because the sooner you act, the sooner you break free from the trap of waiting. Now let's talk about something else, the cost of inaction. Because every time you let your feelings win, you lose something. You lose time, you lose progress, you lose confidence in yourself, and that adds up. Look back at your life. How many times have you let it don't feel like it stop you? How many goals have you delayed? How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you waited? If that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. Success doesn't wait for anyone. You either show up and do the work, or someone else will. Life doesn't pause because you're tired. The world keeps moving. And if you're not keeping up, you're falling behind. And let's get one thing straight. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to force you to do the work. Nobody's going to drag you to success. It's on you. You either take responsibility, or you don't. And the people who take responsibility, they win. So here's what I want you to do. The next time you don't feel like working, recognize that feeling for what it is. A test. A test to see if you're serious about your goals. A test to see if you have what it takes. And instead of giving in, rise up. Because every time you push through, you get stronger. Every time you choose action over excuses, you become the kind of person who succeeds. And that's how real change happens. From this day forward, don't let feelings control you. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for motivation. Take action. Do the work. Build the life you want. Because nobody else is going to do it for you. Number 2, revisit your why. Let's talk about something that makes all the difference when you don't feel like working. It's not motivation. It's not willpower. It's your reason. Your why. Because when you don't feel like doing the work, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when everything in you wants to quit, your why is what will keep you going. Most people never stop to figure out why they're doing what they're doing. They say they want success, but they don't take a second to ask themselves, why does this matter to me? What am I working toward? What's the real reason I can't afford to quit? And that's a mistake. Because when things get tough, and they will, if you don't have a strong enough reason, you'll fold. You'll give in to the excuses. You'll tell yourself, I'll just do it tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. But when your why is strong, when your reason is crystal clear, it becomes your fuel. It becomes the thing that pushes you through the days when you don't feel like it. Because let me tell you, those days will come. No matter how disciplined you are, no matter how much you want it, there will be moments when you feel drained, unmotivated, completely out of energy. And in those moments, your why is what pulls you back into the fight. So what is it for you? What are you working for? Is it your family? Is it proving to yourself that you can become the person you know you're meant to be? Is it the life you dream of, but haven't built yet? Because if your reason isn't big enough, your excuses will win. Look at the people who succeed. They don't wake up every day feeling inspired. They don't feel like working any more than you do. The difference is, they remember why they started. They don't let a bad mood or a tired morning stop them. They push through because they know what's at stake. Think about the last time you wanted something so bad that nothing could stop you. Maybe it was getting in shape. Maybe it was making money. Maybe it was proving someone wrong. Whatever it was, you didn't wait to feel ready. You didn't wait to be in the mood. You just did it. Because the reason behind it was strong enough. That's what you need to tap into every single day. You need to remind yourself why you can't afford to quit. You need to make that reason so powerful, so deeply personal, that nothing, not tiredness, not laziness, not doubt, can shake you. But here's where most people mess up. They set goals, they make plans, but they never connect them to something real. They say they want to be successful, but they don't dig deep enough to figure out why. And when things get hard, they lose sight of it. They forget. And once you forget why you started, it's only a matter of time before you stop altogether. That's why you have to remind yourself every single day. You have to keep your why in front of you. Write it down. Look at it when you wake up. Say it out loud if you have to. Because when life hits you, when everything feels overwhelming, your why is what will keep you moving forward. I've seen it too many times. People start something with energy and excitement, but when the grind kicks in, when the results don't come fast enough, when things get uncomfortable, they quit. And then they look back months later and regret it. They wish they had stuck with it. They realize that if they had just kept going, they'd be in a completely different place. You don't want to be one of those people. You don't want to look back a year from now and wish you had stayed consistent. You want to be the person who kept pushing, who kept showing up, who kept working, no matter how they felt. And let me tell you something important. Your why isn't just about you. It's about the people who are counting on you. It's about the version of yourself that you owe it to. Because whether you realize it or not, Your actions affect more than just you. Your discipline, your work ethic, your ability to push through, it sets the standard for the people around you. If you quit every time it gets hard, what does that say to your future self? What does that teach your family, your friends, your kids? If they see you giving up, they'll think it's okay to do the same. But if they see you pushing forward, if they see you working when you don't feel like it, if they see you committed no matter what, that inspires people. That creates a ripple effect that goes beyond just you. So right now, ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I really working for? What's the reason I can't afford to stop? And don't give yourself some shallow answer. Don't say, I just want to be successful, or I want to make money. That's not deep enough. Go further. What does success actually mean to you? What would more money do for your life? What does achieving your goal actually change for you and the people around you? Because when you have a strong enough reason, quitting isn't an option. When your why is powerful enough, feelings don't matter anymore. You stop caring about whether or not you're in the mood, whether or not you feel like working. You just do it because you know what's on the line. So the next time you catch yourself saying, I don't feel like it, stop, take a breath, and remember why you started. Remember the goal, remember the bigger picture, and then get to work. Because no one's gonna do it for you. No one's gonna hand you success. It's up to you. And the only way you get there is by showing up every single day, no matter what. Number 3, comfort is killing you. You know what's killing most people's dreams? It's not lack of talent. It's not lack of opportunity. It's comfort. The moment life becomes too easy, too predictable, too safe, people stop growing. They stop striving for more. They settle. And once you settle, once you start making comfort your priority, you lose your edge. You lose that fire inside you that pushes you to become better. Think about it. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by staying comfortable. They didn't reach the top by taking the easy road, by avoiding difficulty, by choosing what felt good in the moment. They got there because they did the hard things. They pushed through discomfort. They embraced challenges. They showed up when they didn't feel like it. And that's what separates them from everyone else. Most people are addicted to comfort. They want success, but they don't want the struggle that comes with it. They want results, but they don't want to deal with the discomfort of putting in the work. So they stay in the same routine. They wake up at the same time, do the same things, never challenge themselves, never push past their limits, and then they wonder why. Their life isn't changing. But here's the truth. Nothing grows in comfort. If you never push yourself past what's easy, you will never reach your full potential. If you always avoid discomfort, you will always stay stuck exactly where you are. Because growth only happens when you force yourself into situations that make you uncomfortable. It happens when you do things that challenge you, that stretch you, that push you beyond what you thought you were capable of. Look at your life right now. Be honest with yourself. Are you choosing comfort over progress? Are you making decisions based on what's easy, instead of what's necessary? Because if you are, that's the reason you're not getting the results you want. That's the reason you're not moving forward. You've made comfort your priority instead of growth. And as long as comfort is your priority, you will never become the person you are meant to be. You need to rewire the way you think about discomfort. Instead of avoiding it, you need to chase it. You need to seek out the things that challenge you. You need to put yourself in situations that force you to level up. Because that's where real growth happens. That's where you start to separate yourself from the people who are just coasting through life. You see, success isn't about working when you feel good. It's about showing up when you don't. It's about pushing yourself when every part of you wants to quit. It's about proving to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses, stronger than your laziness, stronger than your desire to stay comfortable. The problem is, most people don't even realize how much comfort is holding them back. They don't realize that every time they hit snooze on their alarm, every time they skip the gym, every time they procrastinate, they're choosing comfort over progress. And every time they make that choice, they reinforce the habit of quitting. They teach themselves that it's okay to avoid hard things. And over time, that becomes their identity. That's why you have to break that cycle. You have to start making decisions based on where you want to be, not where you are right now. You have to train yourself to do the hard things, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because that's when it matters most. That's when real discipline is built. Every time you push through discomfort, every time you do something that you don't feel like doing, you're proving to yourself that you are in control, not your feelings, not your excuses. You. And that kind of discipline, that kind of mental toughness is what will separate you from everyone else. Because the truth is, most people won't do it. Most people will keep choosing comfort. Most people will keep making excuses. But you don't have to be like most people. You have a choice. You can keep living the way you've been living, playing it safe, staying comfortable, avoiding difficulty. Or you can step up and decide that you are done with that mindset. You can decide that you will do whatever it takes, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. And when you make that decision, when you commit to that path, everything changes. Think about the moments in your life when you felt the most proud of yourself. Think about the times when you accomplished something difficult, when you overcame a challenge, when you pushed through something that felt impossible. I guarantee you, those moments didn't come from staying comfortable. They came from struggle. They came from pushing past resistance. They came from proving to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. And that's exactly why you have to keep pushing. That's why you have to keep challenging yourself. Because every time you do, you're becoming stronger. You're becoming sharper. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't quit when things get hard. And that kind of person is unstoppable. So stop letting comfort hold you back. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect situation, the perfect motivation. It's not coming. No one is going to show up and push you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. If you want it, you have to go get it. You have to fight for it. You have to be willing to do the work, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient, even when every part of you wants to stop. Because at the end of the day, that's what separates the winners from the losers. That's what separates the people who actually make something of themselves from the people who spend their whole lives wondering what could have been. The only question is, which one are you going to be? Are you going to keep choosing comfort? Or are you going to step up and do what needs to be done? The choice is yours. But remember this, the longer you stay comfortable, the longer you stay stuck. If you want to change your life, you have to get uncomfortable. You have to break free from the habits that are keeping you small. You have to be willing to do the hard things over and over again until they become second nature. Because that's what it takes. That's the price of success. So decide right now, are you willing to pay that price? Are you willing to do what most people won't? Because if you are, if you commit to that mindset, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that can stop you. But if you keep choosing comfort, if you keep avoiding the struggle, you'll wake up one day full of regret, wishing you had pushed harder, wishing you had done more, and by then it might be too late. Don't let that be your story. Get uncomfortable, push through, do what needs to be done, and watch how fast your life starts to change. Number 4, your future self is watching. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that their future is some distant thing, something they'll figure out later. But let me tell you, your future isn't waiting for you. It's being shaped by every single choice you make today. Right now, the way you wake up, the way you work, the way you handle challenges, all of it is building the person you're going to become. And the question you need to ask yourself is this: are you making decisions that your future self will be proud of? Or are you making decisions that you'll regret? Most people don't think about this. They go through life reacting to whatever happens in the moment, never thinking about the long-term consequences. They skip the hard work today because they don't feel like it. They put things off because they're tired, because they're unmotivated, because they'd rather do something easier. But what they don't realize is that every time they do that, they are stealing from their future. They are making life harder for the person they're going to become. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Picture that person. What kind of life do they have? What kind of shape are they in? What kind of opportunities do they have? Because that version of you is being built by what you do today. If you waste time now, that future version of you will pay the price. If you cut corners now, that future version of you will suffer for it. And let me tell you, there is nothing worse than looking back and realizing that you could have done more, that you should have done more, that you wasted time. You can never get back. You see, life has a way of keeping track. It doesn't forget the effort you put in, the sacrifices you make, the discipline you build. It all adds up. And one day you're going to have to live with the results of those choices. You're either going to thank yourself for the work you put in, or you're going to hate yourself for wasting the years you can't get back. And trust me, regret is far more painful than the temporary discomfort of discipline. I've seen it happen over and over again. People who had dreams, people who had potential, but they didn't take it seriously when they had the chance. They let laziness win. They told themselves they'd start tomorrow. They thought they had more time. And then one day they woke up and realized that tomorrow never came. They looked in the mirror and saw someone they didn't recognize. A weaker version of the person they could have been. And the worst part, they knew it was their own fault. They knew they had no one to blame but themselves. I don't want that for you. I don't want you to wake up 5-10 years from now, full of regret, wishing you had worked harder, wishing you had made better choices. I want you to wake up proud. I want you to be able to look back and say, I did the work. I showed up. I pushed myself, even when I didn't feel like it. Because that's the only way you build a future that you're proud of. The key to all of this is to stop thinking of your future self as a stranger. That person is you. You are either making life easier for them or making it harder. And if you truly care about yourself, if you truly want to be successful, you will stop letting temporary feelings dictate your actions. You will stop choosing comfort over growth. You will stop making excuses. Because every excuse you make today is just another problem your future self will have to deal with. And let me tell you, your future self is watching. Every time you decide to hit snooze, they feel it. Every time you skip the workout, they feel it. Every time you choose distractions over discipline, they feel it. And one day that version of you is going to look back and either be grateful for the effort you put in or be angry that you wasted so much time. So ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be someone who rises above their emotions, who pushes through when things get tough, who does the hard things even when they don't feel like it? Or do you want to be someone who lets laziness win? Because there is no in-between. You're either getting stronger or weaker. You're either moving forward or falling behind. This is why discipline matters so much. Because motivation will come and go. But discipline is what keeps you moving forward when you don't feel like it. It's what separates the winners from the losers, the successful from the unsuccessful. Anyone can work hard when they feel good. That's easy. But the real test is what you do on the days you don't feel like it. The real test is whether you can push through discomfort, whether you can force yourself to show up when every part of you wants to quit. And let me tell you, when you start living like that, when you start thinking about your future self in every decision you make, your life changes. You stop making excuses. You stop wasting time. You stop giving yourself permission to be weak. Because you realize that every choice matters. Every day counts. And when you stack up enough good days, enough disciplined days, suddenly you wake up one day and you're unrecognizable. You've built strength. You've built confidence. You've built a life that you're actually proud of. But it starts right now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. This moment. This choice. Are you going to do what needs to be done? Or are you going to let another day slip by? Are you going to make your future self proud? Or are you going to leave them with regret? That's the question you have to ask yourself every single day. Because the truth is, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to push you. Nobody is going to do the work for you. If you want it, you have to take responsibility. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to stop making excuses and start making progress. Your future self is watching. So what are you going to do about it? Number 5. Routines eliminate excuses. One of the biggest traps people fall into is waiting until they feel like it before they take action. They sit around, hoping for motivation to magically appear, as if one day they're going to wake up and suddenly feel an unstoppable urge to work hard. But let me tell you something. Waiting for motivation is the fastest way to get left behind, because motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. It's like the weather. Some days it's there, some days it's not. And if you only work when you feel like it, you're never going to achieve anything worthwhile. The real key to success isn't motivation. It's discipline, and discipline is built through routine. The more you rely on a structured routine, the less you have to depend on how you feel in the moment. Because let's be honest, most of the time, you're not going to feel like working. You're not going to feel like pushing yourself. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel unmotivated. You're going to feel like quitting. That's normal. That's how the mind works. It wants comfort. It wants to avoid pain. It wants the easy way out. But if you let those feelings control you, you'll never get anywhere. This is why routines are so important. They eliminate the need for decision-making. They take away the mental battle of, should I do it now or should I wait? Because when you have a set routine, it's no longer up for debate. You don't negotiate with yourself. You just do it. And that's the secret to consistency. People who succeed at the highest level aren't necessarily the most talented. They're not the ones with the best ideas. They're the ones who show up every single day, no matter what. They've built habits and systems that keep them moving forward even when they don't feel like it.
Click here for part 2.